Everyone to the MMOs.com podcast. This is episode 56 now, and this is Altai, joined by
Omer,
Dumble,
Matt,
and Shirley for a limited time.
limited time only.
Limited time.
The gang is back.
Gang's back, boys.
We should be in order of the way that we introduce ourselves. Like Omer should be on the far left over there, and then it should be Sean, and then it should be me, and then
Whoa, that's a lot of work there.
Matt, that's a lot of planning.
That is getting decided on your asses.
The MMOs.com podcast is a no pants podcast, all right? You're not allowed to wear pants in this podcast, so we keep it
As
casual.
we learned.
I usually don't have pants, but I have them today.
Shoot, that's unfortunate.
I had to go to the store, so like I was too lazy to take them off, you know.
Am I the only one who dresses up for this podcast? It kind of makes me feel more professional, so I like to be dressed up for this.
I put a shirt on. What are you talking about?
Altai's more
Dressed
dressed up for this podcast than he is for anything else, all right? He washes his hair, he takes a shower, he puts a deodorant on, you know, he tightens his tie that doesn't exist.
Puts on the makeup.
Yeah, he does everything. He combs his hair. He's prepped. And with that, let's go to the weekly raid.
Okay.
Perfect.
So, as we all know, E3 is going on, and we all love E3. And it's not just a marketing stunt, but I've been watching live on Twitch, except for the 5 seconds that Twitch wasn't working. Then I went to YouTube, and as soon as it came back, I went back to Twitch. I've seen quite a few things, a lot of embarrassing, cringy moments, but I've also been excited thanks to a few trailers. So I thought we would all talk about what our thoughts are on E3 so far. I'll start. So far, I'm very excited for Dual Universe, which I heard about a few months ago. Somewhat of a competitor to Star Citizen, at least face value. And what I mean by that is you will have this vast universe. Well, I guess it's not like Star Citizen at all. But anyway, it's a sandbox universe. You'll build your spaceship, and you'll be able to fly from the planet's surface into space and explore this kind of open sandbox world. I guess I just keep thinking Star Citizen because that's the other big, sci-fi fly through space project. But looked really interesting. Really sick trailer of a spaceship landing and flying into space, and you see the atmosphere generate. Really cool. We have a trailer right here. And so far, that's pretty much been the thing that got me excited. A few other things not MMO related was Zelda. Nintendo finally showed off the new Zelda game, and it has these really sweet hitboxes. And I'm going to link that right here. Yeah, and that's a weird thing to say, but it has hitboxes that are really cool. I've never seen anything like it. It's no longer a box. It actually seems to follow the character model. So that made me very excited because really that's all Nintendo had was Zelda from what I saw. But so we can go around and then I'll come back and bring up Microsoft.
I do want to say about your Dual Universe game, I saw the trailer, and honestly, the only part of that trailer that I thought was actually kind of cool and hype was seeing that plane go descend.
That is the cool part.
But again, they weren't the first to do that.
No, I understand that.
Did that as well, which is gotta give them props because they did pull that off.
Keep in mind, this is an independent project.
Yeah,
and I love the aesthetic style. I like how it looks, and there's no way it's this seamless. If you actually had your hands on it right now, at least I doubt it. I'm sure this is a pre-alpha footage.
They say it's straight out of the working client.
Yeah, a lot of people say things are straight out of the working client, but unless I'm the one playing it, I don't believe it.
Load in. You can literally, as you're watching
I'm
the trailer, see the
I'm not about to start debating the validity of E3 trailers and change the conversation. So, but I just want to.
Made by the same guys that did Space Engineers because it looks kind of similar.
No, not even close.
All right, a little bit close. Let's maybe within a mile. Give me a kilometer.
Maybe they're on the same street. Their offices are on the same block.
I want to throw it out there. I'm not really impressed by Zelda. I don't really know what's going on with it. It looks like some weird sandbox game, and you can cut down.
I was gonna say my issue with this E3 is the big trend seems to be open world games, right? And we see genre franchises that aren't known for that, like Zelda doing it now. I guess Wind Waker was kind of open worldy.
Yes.
But most of them not to the extent of chopping trees and that kind of stuff and cooking in open world. I don't know. It can work for some games, but I don't think it should just be thrown in there for just because.
Fair enough.
That's true. It has its place, and it is weird to see it pop up in some games like Zelda, which is what we think we're getting.
I don't get it. So, is the point of this is the fact that he could stand up to straighten his model?
Yeah. So he basically dodges just by standing up. I thought it was just a really neat. I haven't seen anything like that. I mean, I'm sure someone could bring up an example that's close, but at first I thought there was nothing going on. I thought it was just like I thought the hitbox was actually broken, but
Yeah.
I mean, I thought it was neat.
Nice, nice. I actually can't hear you, Omar. I don't know if you're talking.
I mean,
So,
it looks
I'm
it
not gonna
looks
read too much
cool,
into it.
right?
I
Like,
actually-
Also,
I
look
actually-
at
I
the
actually-
Guys, can we dial the whole conversation back like 10 seconds? Discord froze up for me.
Yeah.
okay, yeah,
Me
it did
too.
for me too.
Okay,
so,
cool.
So basically, what I said was, I said that I thought that this looks like a weird survival game and not Zelda. And I don't get it.
The Zelda didn't
And the
seem like
aesthetic
a
is
Zelda.
not nice. I don't like the aesthetic.
You don't like in Zelda?
No, it's just like everything looks nice on its own, but the way it came together, just I don't like it. It doesn't mesh well, or it looks like unremarkable. You know what I mean? Like it's pretty but unremarkable.
I gotta get my hands on it before I judge.
So what was
Okay.
the thing you linked, Omar? Tales of Berseria? You want to talk a little about that?
I linked it in the bucket. But again, I've long been a fan of Tales games. I think at least Altai has as well. And this one actually looks interesting. I mean, I like Tales of Vesperia the most, but it's a new Tales game. Unfortunately, it's coming out in 2017, so we have a lot of waiting to do. The good thing is, though, they announced it's coming in early 2017 for PlayStation 4 and PC. So
Ooh.
they are going with that trend of releasing the game for. They're really embracing PC, which I really like.
I wonder what the numbers are on that. If like, I mean, it must be significant for.
But I think they realized why not make it for PC. They got experience making their old games for PC because they poured them over, and they did their other recent one. What was it called? Tales of what was the new one on Steam called?
The one you didn't play? I don't think
Yeah.
any of us played.
No,
Tail?
she played it.
Oh, you did?
Which one? Tales of Eternia?
Systeria?
No, not Vesperia.
Zisteria.
Is that
Eternia?
Syria?
Tales of
like
Destiny?
3 times.
Okay, all right. Anyway, they clearly gotten used to it, but I mean, I'm kind of hyped for that game, and it's PC, so it's somewhat relevant. It's an RPG, and it's right up my alley. Aside from that, the Detroit game, but I'll let somebody else take a shot at their favorite.
Oh, well, yeah, Detroit.
Alright, so
I watched the trailer earlier. Yeah, that one looks cool.
I've been criticizing your guys' choices, so I'm gonna go ahead and say
Wow.
I think Sony won this, like straight up won it. And like when I watched the God of War trailer, like I didn't even believe it was God of War at first. It looks so nice, and it's like God of War has never looked like that. And the moments were just so fucking real. It was so raw and emotional. And then they followed up with Horizon Zero Dawn, and that looked fucking awesome. I want to go out and shoot some mechs with a bow and have things explode.
I was watching the God of War one, and like when he's teaching his son how to shoot the deer, right, with the bow. And
Yeah.
I swear, like I didn't double check it, but when I feel like the kid got excited before before the arrow even hit the deer. Like I feel like that was like a little bug. Like he shot the arrow before he hit the deer. He's like, I did it. I'm pretty sure it was off by.
I remember that same scene. To me, my issue with it was like it didn't seem fluid. Like the arrow like hit to the left, and like the impact animation was like in the middle. I don't know, just a small.
And you guys call me nitpicky.
Yo, it's important,
I
right?
mean, you guys are missing the point. It's like so raw and emotional, and it's like so real compared to like all the other God of War games. I mean, it's like
Yes.
a new era for it. And I just like I watched that and I'm like, holy shit, man! Like they did good. And then
You know
they
what's-
followed up with a fucking Norman Reedus in Death Stranding, whatever the fuck that means.
All right, but I have an
It's-
issue. I have an issue to bring up. So, do you play the kid or the main guy? I'm assuming the main guy, right?
Yeah, you play
What-
the main guy.
In what game has properly pulled off escorting an NPC that's weaker than you and just around the world? I
think
feel like
it's
that's a recipe. That's a recipe for frustration.
I don't
like-
think that's gonna be a continuous thing, and I don't
Yes.
think you're actually escorting him. I think he doesn't have a health bar.
Did
Okay.
you friendly fire
okay.
him? Probably not. What's funny is
God of War ever.
I've never. It was a
Yeah, I
PS
have.
console game, so I never really got into it.
You
But,
missed out.
looking at this trailer too, it was always interesting to see because in E3 they always like made it a point to show you that it's actual gameplay, right? So you would always see a camera facing a guy playing the game, right? Because they didn't want to make people think it was this is all pre-rendered nonsense. So there's always a guy actually playing the game, which is pretty funny because think about it from the audience perspective and his perspective. There is so much pressure on him to not f up because if he f's up, it's so embarrassing. Because literally the whole world is watching this guy, right? And I think people made some complaints about the God of War. He messed up a few times, but there was actually a video for the Final Fantasy 15 on Xbox, right?
Horrible.
The guy would not stop messing up. It
Really?
was so cringy.
Yeah, it was bad.
Everyone disliked the video, right? Because this guy is awful. Why'd they let him play? Let somebody else play. Who actually it's the first time playing and he just gets dumpstered. It's like he would just keep getting knocked down by
again and again.
Head.
I thought he
so
was building up tension, and then I saw his face and he looked concerned that he would get a game over. Somehow he got his health back. I don't know what happened there, but
Some intervention by the developers, maybe.
Maybe.
But he must have had tremendous pressure, regardless, which is just pretty funny.
I know they were talking about that when they were playing Legend of Zelda. They were going on about how they were going to end up having the switch off, right? And the next person was going to end up failing hard. And the one person that was playing was like, I suck at melee combat, so I like to sit here with arrows and shoot them from afar. Then they get I think they got Miyamoto up there, and Miyamoto's sitting there like, yeah. When I run out of arrows, I like to let the enemies fire at me and pick up their arrows and shoot them back out.
This God of War footage is pretty legit.
Did they specify? Is it running on the new PlayStation 4? I mean, I imagine it would be.
No, they don't specify.
Yeah, what's up with that? Was there any word on the Neo, whatever it's called, 4.5? No,
nothing.
No.
They talked a little bit about PlayStation VR, which actually sounded pretty interesting because they said at first I thought it would only work on the new PlayStations, but then they said we already have 30 million installed PlayStation devices out there, which makes the market for this huge. So I guess it's going to work on all the current PS4s.
And also, you guys should watch the Horizon Zero Dawn stuff, the gameplay videos. I linked the trailer, but you should watch the gameplay ones because it looks great, man. It's an open world game where you have to run around and as tribal people shooting mechs basically, and it's insane.
Let's do this.
I liked Resident Evil 7, so.
Okay, so this game is going to be RE7 is going to be in VR, right?
Yes. Yeah. So I thought it was a gimmick at first, they're showing VR. VR.
You bought it out on me, dude. You got to repeat that.
Yeah, Discord a little bit, but I think we're okay now.
Well, what he's trying to say is, I think he said he thought this was a gimmick at first, but apparently, the new Resident Evil is gonna be in VR, and hopefully it'll be. I think scary games, especially where it's not super combat intensive, where it's mostly the atmosphere, is where VR will shine for this generation because it's still too early for the high end stuff, too much movement, but we do got this going.
Correct, boys. Keep looking dog.
I can still hear Gumby. Interesting. Just Remo seems to have. No, he's gone too now. Well, welcome to the Altai Show, where it's just me and you guys. You guys want to try?
I can't hear you guys at all.
We're good. We're back.
Do you guys wanna? Do you wanna switch channels here? I'm gonna switch to US East. All right.
I'm back.
We're back.
All right, we're back.
Hear you
We're
guys.
back. We're back, boys. We're back. Sorry about that.
I said, and I quote, I can hear you now. And Discord immediately disconnected me.
I was saying earlier about Resident Evil 7. When I first saw this, I thought it was kind of gimmicky that they were showing off the VR. But I was kind of mind blown when they said the whole game will be playable in VR, not just the beginning. And I think we talked about this earlier too, but PlayStation VR probably has the most potential out of any VR device because you have the hardware already out there, and I think it'll be very accessible for most people.
I think the thing a lot of people are worried about with this game though is it looks a lot like PT,
What's
not
wrong
Resident
with that?
Evil. I think a lot of people want old Resident Evil. I've seen a lot of comments about that.
But
It
what
looks
is
cool to
old
me,
Resident
but,
Evil, man? Resident Evil has always been
Clunky
changing.
controls, few ammo.
Right.
But like I think the thing is, it doesn't look like there's that much combat. It looks passive.
It's the first time we're
come
seeing
on.
the game. We
You
have no
can't
idea
say
what
that
it's gonna
yet.
be like yet.
Because like
People are just
Resident Evil
talking
4 was
shit.
very actiony. Resident Evil like 2 and 3 were just
5 was all action.
But
yeah,
I'm saying that's what I think people are worried about.
I don't like action in my
Just pause
Resident
it.
Evil games too much.
But yeah, there's a demo. I still need to try it. I know that our buddy Dest in Discord streamed it for like 5 hours, and he said you could finish it in like 10 minutes, but it does the PT thing, and you can just keep going.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking
think,
of
uh,
Myst 2.0, wasn't there a game? There was a game that looked a lot like Myst announced, right?
A game that looks a lot like Myst.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
The Witness? No, that
May-
game already came out. I don't know which one you're talking about.
Hey, what's that cute Tracer video on your?
Kawaii.
Oh, it just showed up on the stream.
All right. Well, that's anything else on E3, guys? Anything?
I did want to point out
Um,
how embarrassing. So I didn't have a chance to watch any other E3 event fully, other than Microsoft, and it was full of cringe and it was very embarrassing. My favorite part of Microsoft's presentation was before every single game they had to say Windows 10 and Xbox One exclusive. A Windows 10 and Xbox One exclusive. A Windows 10 and shut up. It was, and then some of the presenters that came out just make it cringy. I mean, E3 always has those cringe moments, but Microsoft it was really embarrassing. I also don't think the people that stood up there with the controllers were playing the game. It was a game of Gears of War, and it was just the way it went about. Either they practiced before playing, or it was just a cinematic aspect of gameplay. They pre-recorded it and they had the guys playing. They just, I don't know. If you watch Microsoft, I'm sorry you watched Microsoft. It was lame. I wish I had seen Sony and Nintendo more rather than the little bit I saw.
I wanted to cover.
Go ahead.
I wanted to cover one more thing, since it is sort of an MMO. Okay, so Steep, that winter sports pseudo MMO that Ubisoft is doing, kind of like the Crew and the Division, where you run into like phases and there are people you can run into and you can challenge them to different stuff and stuff like that. I just want to cover this because they did a damn good job, right?
Mhm.
Like you see it and it's like you have this insane sense of scale, and I've never seen a sports game get the sense of scale correct like this game did. And I'm sitting there like I'm won over just by this, and then you see them going down like paragliding down the side of a mountain, and it's like holy shit, you can race against the skiers in real time. And then you have the thing, like, one little detail. I'm all about the good details, right? When you go down with the skis, you can see like divots in the snow where your skis were in real time. It morphs it in real time.
It looks gorgeous, Matt, but like who at Ubisoft is like, listen, that game's Snow, because it kind of looks like inspired by Snow, which is another game we covered a while ago. Like they looked at that game like, wow, Snow is doing so well, we should make a game like it. But
I think that's unfair because snow is mostly just like snowboarding and a little bit of skiing.
What? No, it was skiing.
Isn't it?
No, it was
It's
just.
mostly skiing. Okay.
But
They were
Snow
gonna
is
add
not a
snowboards.
popular game. It's got 218
No.
players on right now. It kind of boosted recently, but it goes from about 200 to 500. It's clearly not a big hit, so it's kind of weird to see like Ubisoft putting this out. But I'm personally not a big fan of sports games, so I'm not too excited. But it looks pretty.
I don't think it's fair to say that anyone at Ubisoft paid attention to snow. I mean, really, it's a completely different market.
I mean, I don't get this game. Like, I guess it looks pretty, but I guess it's not my cup of tea here, guys.
It's
It's probably just not your genre.
Yeah.
You know
This
how
appeals to a lot of people, actually.
you know how like the best way I can put it, Tony Hawk, when they kind of went open world and you kind of did things like you go over here, you do a challenge here, you go over here, do a challenge here. It's kind of like that, except you can also run into other players and do challenges in like real time, and you can design challenges. You can share replays based on where you've done a challenge. You can share your spills. It's crazy. It's
But
really,
Matt, will it be better than SSX Tricky?
No.
Impossible.
I want to point out that game looks great. I'm a big fan of like winter sport games. I loved playing SSX Tricky, and I really enjoyed playing Snow. I made a video for it. I also want to point out I have absolutely no faith in Ubisoft. They really have to earn my trust back, especially when it comes to their E3 presentations. I feel like Ubisoft drops the ball every time. They go to E3, they present this game, and then you get your hands on it, and it's a total. It does not live up to the hype. So we'll see if they can pull through with this one. It looks interesting, but I just we got burned on Watch Dogs. The Division is Ubisoft, right?
Yes.
That game dropped to an embarrassing degree.
But people got they got time out of it too.
I'm just saying what I'm getting at.
Division,
Go ahead. Go
I
ahead.
think-
Take it away.
I think the thing about the Division is it's unfair to say that like these pseudo MMOs are failing because they drop off heavily.
I
Because
didn't say failing.
the whole it's unfair to like base your opinion on the fact that they drop off because they're like console games, right? You play them for a certain amount, or not console games. They're like offline games.
Mhm.
You play them for a certain amount of time. They have a certain amount of content. They're not designed to be played forever. It's just it has content for the people that want to play forever, like PvP content, like the Dark Zone or Destiny has its like Halo like PvP areas, but they're not meant to go on forever.
All right, I'm gonna
So they're
steal
gonna
this
drop
topic
off.
away in a moment because we've been on E3 for a while. And this is the MMOs.com podcast, so we gotta bring up some MMO news.
Good idea.
I'm sure we can circle back around on E3 on the after show for a bit too, because I mean, there's still a lot of stuff we didn't talk about. I mean, a lot of it isn't really MMO related because E3 is there's a lot of console stuff on there too. But I wanted to bring up Blade and Soul because they are releasing the new fighter class. I know
Oh,
Shu is
nice.
our resident Blade and Soul expert, and I know she said she hated Blade and Soul because of the balance issues. But Shu, we actually had a guy read a really great article on MMOs.com about the death of
Colin.
like the fit you call Colin. He wrote an article
Mhm.
about the failing dreams of the Blade and Soul's fading esports dream. And he
Did it have to do with balance?
he brought it up, but then he said it was very quickly addressed. And actually, if you look at the top rankings today, it's a
Uh-huh.
very good mashup of all the races.
Oh,
Summoners
that's
do not
good.
overrepresent.
So,
And they
so
fixed that.
it's
Yes.
gotten a lot better then since.
They've on that regard it's gotten a lot better but overall the tone of the article was negative because and he's also making a lot of mistakes, but
Mhm.
they fixed it with the Hung Moon skills, but it takes apparently just countless hours to unlock all your Hung Moon skills.
Uh-huh.
But
So what's the? Actually, I guess I could check it out. real
yeah,
quick.
also, but I want to say it's pretty crazy because I didn't know how bad the esports scene was in Blade and Soul, and I think you guys are gonna laugh at this, but as is, because there is no spectator client in the West, the way they cast Western tournaments is embarrassing cringy.
Wait,
So what they'll
is
do
this? Wait. Is this the one where they do like the 3v3 and then they're like?
Yes.
Dude, they've been doing that since I was playing.
Well,
That's
explain
so
it for the audience.
cringy.
Explain it for the audience.
What they do is because there is no, they want to do 1v1 tournaments, but
Oh
because
my
there is no
God.
spectator client, they have to get the caster in there, and they have to get like 4 volunteers in the game, and the 4 volunteers just kill each other, and then they spectate, and then they cast in the volunteers' perspective. So it takes like 5 minutes to set up every single game, and then it's best out of threes. So each match takes like at least 3 times longer than it has to because you have to set it up. It's just unbelievably cringy that they couldn't address that.
I mean, it's been how long has it been since Blade and Soul came out?
At least 6 months.
I mean,
Oh.
like I said, this was an issue when I
January,
was playing.
This is going to be going into the 6 months.
Because
Yeah.
I watched tournaments when I
Yeah.
like there was a time when I played Blade and Soul and I was like, man, I really want to be like it was kind of giving me back like those fighting game days, and I was like,
Yeah.
I want to be like the best at Blade and Soul. I'm gonna play the fuck out of this game, and so I was watching tournaments, and that's how they did it back then. So I'm surprised that for a game that is saying, oh, we're gonna take ourselves seriously as an esport, that they haven't supported that yet.
It's absolutely ridiculous.
So
And
you guys
that is
said the
ridiculous.
American version didn't have this client. Does that imply that the
Yes.
Korean one does?
based on the screen, there is a better like spectator. I think there's a spectator client for the Korean one because I did see a screenshot where it looks really good, like really professional.
Wow, that's really weird that they don't have it in the American one. I mean, they had 4 years to port this game,
Like take a look at this picture, for example. It shows you the Imperial Blade and Soul stream versus the 2015 World Championships in Korea. Like, you can see there's like it's 3v3. 2 guys are dead, and these guys are fighting. It's like it's so poorly done. On that note, would you consider going back to Blade and Soul now that they fixed the balance? Apparently.
I don't know. I mean, that's like the rough thing about MMOs is like once you
It's
step
hard to
out
go
of
back.
it, it's
Yes.
really difficult to go back. Like, because then I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna have to like catch up on PVE content,
Relearn
and
everything.
then yeah, like especially for a game like Blade and Soul, like, I feel like it's very like um, what's the word? It's not really muscle memory, but it's very like
Twitchy
just having
almost.
the twitchy, yeah, like having the feel of like where my buttons are. Like I'm gonna
Mhm.
have to regain all of that, and it's really really tough on Blade and Soul, like compared to like other games. So
Oh, then no, I actually just started playing again because why not? Because
yeah,
I rolled a character on Europe with Shio, but then I kind of quit pretty early. But then I made another character on America, so I just started leveling him. I'm only like level 20, but I had to restart
how's that
again.
going?
I just
I'm having fun. I
I
remember how much
literally
fun the combat is.
Well, that's good.
I just started the game today, and I chose a Kung Fu master, and I like the counter thing so far.
You
So
like the combat though, right?
Yeah, the combat's pretty cool. I mean, I told you guys, I don't think that it's a bad game. I just thought it was generic, other than the
I
combat. That was all I said.
Okay, other than the combat, all right, all right.
Yeah, that was
I want,
that was all I said.
so
I never really like hated on the game itself. It's just I hated on like the balance. Like I said, it has one of the best ideas
mhm,
for a game. It's just not executed well, in my opinion.
right,
But I mean, if they did do a lot of changes, I mean, I'm willing to maybe give it another chance. It's not
I
a
mean,
bad game.
obviously, there's still issues with the game, as this guy Colin points out in his article. But at least that one balance issue did get addressed. Because before, everyone on the top, ladder was summoner, and now
Yeah,
it's a much better balance of everything.
You
it
know
what are
what
was
the
I
to a
heard?
party
bad
sizes in
level
this game? I
too.
remember them. You guys mentioning they were pretty small.
Was pretty small.
Party
Four
size?
I think was four is like the elite party size for like the major end game content. At least when I played.
Yeah, I
Four
think a
man
game
was where
like
it was
Blade and
at.
Soul, where like the I guess the one-on-one combat is such a big part of it. I don't know. To me, an MMO can't be like that. It's got to be more about group combat and group raids and group content. So it never really drew me for that reason.
I do think a game like Blade and Soul, it needs to have an option, just like Guild Wars 2 does, where as soon as you start the game, you can just start PvPing, and you have all your skills unlocked, all your Hung Moon skills unlocked, your max level, and you can just participate in the PvP right away. I feel like the game does a very half-assed job of doing that because
So you're
it
saying it
hasn't.
shouldn't be an MMORPG, just pick a
No, that's
fighting
not what I'm
game.
saying. Guild Wars 2 has that as well today. It gears you up perfectly for PvP. Once you get level 2, you can start doing PvP basically. Well, I'm not sure it's level 2, but really early on, you get all the same gear, all the same skill, everything as everyone else on the PvP level. But it's also an MMORPG. Why not do the best of both worlds? They really half-ass it because you do get to max level when you go PvP, even if you're not max level, but you don't have all your skills unlocked and you don't have your Hung Moon stuff available. Why do they do that though? Why even half-ass it?
I don't know.
And
All right,
that
guys,
was one of the complaints on here too.
I need to head out for a bit. I might be back towards the end.
All right,
Sorry.
she's got to
Alright.
bail, and
See ya.
see you later.
See you.
And then we'll switch
See ya.
topics off of Blade and Soul because I know Shu and I were the only ones that really played that.
All right, so I want to cover this. I started WildStar last night too, and I played for 3 hours. Like that, I rarely do that right off the bat, right?
Mhm.
And I have no idea why people hate it. I really like the combat. It feels really fluid, and like I don't actually have to target anything. I can just use the telegraphs on the ground and try and like AoE them into it with the character I'm playing as at least. And I don't get it. I don't get why people hate it. Like I hated the tutorial the first time around, and I quit because I got bored as shit
Mhm.
first time I played. But now the new tutorial's like really nice. It's really fast. It goes through, and like the first thing you do basically is they let you hoverboard across an area, and I'm like, it starts out really cool, and I don't get why people hate it so much. It's got
Yeah, I'm with you on that. We did it for Sunday Funday a long while back, and I actually had a lot of fun. I wanted to keep playing after Sunday Funday ended, and I kept playing for a few hours. And no, the rest of the crew just bailed, so I didn't know what to play with, so I stopped as well. But yeah, I thought it was a pretty fun game. I had no issue with it. The combat was fluid. I liked the cartoony look. I don't know.
Matt, what,
I like the
what
path.
resolution did you play on?
what
Out of curiosity.
resolution?
Yeah.
I played on 2560 by 1080.
Okay. 2560 is excellent because I know Altai pointed out last time we played WildStar, it was a pretty funny issue that if you play on 1920 by 1080, you have like 80% of the screen full of interface.
Yeah.
Oh damn.
You can scale it down, right? But by default,
Yeah.
half your screen is interface
Half the
menus.
screen. I
Like,
was exaggerating,
yeah.
obviously.
And also, I don't know. I just like I feel like it's a completely different game. You know what I mean? From the last time I played it. I mean, I don't know how much they've actually changed, but like the overall feel of it just feels completely different. And I mean, there's so much personality in all the characters and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I prefer the combat in a game like WildStar to like the fake action combat in games like Terra or Blade and Soul. I don't know. I just prefer
The action combat in Blade and Soul is not fake. It's literally one of the only MMORPGs where the action combat is real, I would say.
I don't know.
I mean,
I have zero confidence in Asian developers being able to pull off MMORPG combat that's fluid.
You haven't played Blade and Soul, and if anything, I think almost universally people agree that the combat in Blade and Soul is good. I mean,
Yeah, I
even
agree.
the people that quit the game for other issues, they all say, look, it's the best combat in any MMORPG. Period. That seems like a pretty wide.
But here's the
percentage.
thing. I guess it depends on what you're looking for in combat in MMORPG. For me, I want an MMORPG to be like a collaborative, not twitchy combat. So, for example, like in a raid in WoW, where you click 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3,
How is that
and that's
fun?
that's fun. I think for me that's fun. And
How
like,
is that fun? That is literally the opposite of fun.
no, I don't know, but instead of just like every time you kill a goose, you gotta like run around like combo like the moon sky beam, combo attack. I don't know. It's just not my style. I prefer tab targeting.
This
Prefer
comes
the
from a guy
rotation.
who played Priest in World of Warcraft, so he's literally playing diner dash level gameplay where he sees the little bars go down. Oop, let's give this guy the burst deal. Like, oh, this guy even little
Okay, so,
kill over time. Come on.
So, Poison 2 is asking if the questing sucks in WildStar, and it's kind of like a mix of generic stuff, and then it's got like events. Like you have, in one of the first zones that I started in, you have like this boss you have to fight, and it's an event, and you can have a bunch of people just join in automatically and fight the boss together and get credit for it. And then you have like your path quests, and we chose explorers, so like we have to do cartography, which means we have to visit the entire map before we leave. We have to like find vistas and place beacons there and stuff like that, and I think it's pretty cool. I mean, I don't get the hate.
I'm gonna interject real quick. Vindictus, MMORPG, great game. Combat, real time combat there. Combat actually works there. You know why? It's not trying to be an open world MMORPG. It's got like stages, right? That's fine.
Yes.
Yeah,
But I think in an open world where you're trying to make this whole virtual environment, society, whatever. I think tab targeting. I'm not gonna say it's the best for all time, but it's better than the alternatives that have been tried so far.
And then
Again, no, I ain't buying what you're selling, buddy.
I think this is a great like transition. So I also played Critica, which is another
Yes.
action
Yes.
combat MMO, right? So I played that, and I played it with a friend and with Kat, and we played through our entire fatigue bar the first time, like just straight through the entire fatigue bar to level 15, and I really liked it. It's basically 3D Dungeon Fighter. It is almost identical to 3D Dungeon Fighter, except I like the combat a lot more. It's so smooth, and I played as a scyther, and I love when you do the dash forward and then you just keep attacking, and it like spins the scythe around right at that attack, and it just like gets everything around you.
Matt, you played the Scyther for the giant boobies, didn't you? Let's be
No.
real. Let's keep it real. Let's keep it real,
No.
Matt.
No. The first thing I did was put on the schoolgirl outfit and hide the giant boobies.
Wow. That's
Wow.
a sin.
That is a shame, Matt. You are doing this service to everyone else in the game who was going to look at your character. Honestly, that's ban-worthy in my opinion. You can't hide the boobs.
But yeah, I like the game. It's a lot of fun. It's just with 3 people at least. I don't know about soloing, but with 3 people at least, it is way too easy. It is so easy.
But this is a problem a lot of MMORPGs have, where difficulty is just brain dead easy. And where do you strike a balance between, because obviously you want to make the beginning relatively, you can die, you want to make it a little challenging, but you don't want people to quit right away, and they want to learn the ropes. But I feel like no game really does a good job at that right now, where it's challenging enough that it feels rewarding.
Yeah,
Well,
but
we did die in Riders of Icarus. Remember the beginning?
Yeah. Rise of Icarus, I would say Rise of Icarus is a good balance for that, because you can die in that.
I think
Yeah, that was always surprising. I always feel like I'm playing the game wrong when I die early on. It feels like I'm missing out on putting skill points in or stat points in somewhere, and it just shows you that, at least for me, my initial experiences have always been so easy and I've always been so OP. So when I actually find a game where it's challenging, I'm confused.
It's like a shock to you now.
I'm really confused. Yeah.
And
On that note, go ahead.
I wanted to throw it out there. If anybody in the chat wants to play Critica, there is no IP block, so you can. It's in English, and if you play PvE, it's not really in closed beta, but anyways.
It says closed beta.
It's not really closed beta. Anyone can play it. I literally just made a new account and played it.
Yeah, I know. But with Libya wipe.
But there's no lag that noticeable when you play PvE. But if you go into PvP, like and you're spectating someone else's match, you will notice everybody just like jumping around. Like it's pretty bad in PvP, but PvE, it's pretty tolerable.
Nice.
There will be a server wipe before. Well, actually, no. June 8th is when apparently it begins, so you're good to go actually. So there won't be a wipe going forward. But I was gonna say on difficulty too. I actually, after watching the Warcraft movie, I wanted to play Warcraft 1 and 2 just to mess around, just to follow the story a little bit. So I actually launched through DOS box or DOS. How do you pronounce that? DOS or DOS? DOS box.
MS-DOS.
Okay, I launched Warcraft 1, and I literally lost on the first mission. Like, look how far difficulty is like swayed up and down. I lost on the tutorial mission. We got to build 6 farms because I moved forward and aggroed these 2 guys, and the control was so difficult and so weird for the first time playing that game in ages that my guys died, and then I literally lost. I've never lost a tutorial before, but no, it's possible in these older games.
I like that. It makes it feel more rewarding. The only game I've played like that recently was Brigador, which is a indie game that you can find on Steam where you're a mech in a isometric environment. It's like a cyberpunk world, and it was surprisingly hard. Again, I thought I was messing up because it was too hard. And it's so funny. I wonder, will we find a new niche of games? I mean, they do exist where it's just, it's designed for the hard audience. And I guess what I'm really getting at is, do most people want it to be easy going in? Is that done to get to the most number of people?
Yeah, most people want it to be easy. Like, I know even like a lot of people that I knew that claim to be hardcore gamers, they're like, yeah, I play on easy. And I'm sitting there like, I started Witcher 3 up, and I immediately put it on Blood and Broken Bones, and I'm like, I'm done with it. Going forward.
On that note, because I usually say I want something more difficult, right? But that reminds me, when I played Heavy Rain, right? Because the kind of game it was, this is my reasoning, because it was like a story-driven game. Because it asks you like, like what's your skill level? Like there's like hard, normal, easy, and like I'm not too familiar with the 6-axis controller. Like I'm not familiar with the controller. I clicked not familiar with the controller because like I made it brain dead easy. Like I can't believe that's an option. Like I'm not quite familiar with the controller. Was the option I picked for my difficulty level.
Jason.
Exactly. I will never forget Jason. But I do want the game to be a little bit more difficult because it's got to be a good balance between difficulty and ease. And like you said with Critica, it just felt really easy. And I think most games end up feeling that way.
I think the one silver lining with mobile games getting big is it will drive the casuals out of the PC gaming market, and then developers will feel freer to make harder games without the option for being familiar with the controller.
Okay, that's not how it's going to work, though. It's going to drive the casuals out of the PC market, and then the PC market is going to die because there's going to be no money there.
Because look at a game like Solaris, or any of the games by Paradox.
Solaris,
yeah, Solaris, or any of the games by, they're pretty, in depth. They're
pretty hardcore.
They never tone it down at the complexity for the general audience, and they still sell well. There's an audience there, so I think even MMORPGs can, because the old games we played, like you played Link Realms, I played Ultima, Ragnarok, private servers. There were never like tens of thousands of people online. Maybe there was like 1,000, right, on a good server, and that was enough for the immersion factor to kick in. So I think there's going to be room for games like that, if and only when these developers stop chasing these casuals who just want brain dead games where they beat on wolves and never lose health. So good riddance. Good riddance.
I play Forsaken World Mobile. That's a brain dead game right there.
Yeah, it is. I think at the very least, I want to see groups required more, because I see a lot of comments that are sitting there like, I want to be able to solo my entire time in an MMORPG. I'm like, dear sir, you do not want an MMORPG. Get over it.
It's true.
But I want to be a lone wolf player like Kirito from Sword Art Online.
Well, then you have to be really good or stupid. Right?
There's a fine line between being good at a game and just being a dumbass.
Wow.
Shots fired.
Yeah, but again, I don't think we're gonna get the complexity of game we had in the golden age of MMORPGs until these casuals leave the market. So here's hoping for that.
Let mobile draw them away.
Exactly.
It's funny because in my Forsaken World mobile video, besides being brain dead easy and built-in bot like all of the Chinese nonsense games, I looked at the cash shop, and in order to get VIP level 15, you have to spend, I calculated, $166,000 to to get the highest level of VIP. Who's got that kind of money to blow on a Forsaken World mobile?
Well, we know one guy. We know one guy from the comments section, Wood.
That's true.
It's a sign of success when you spend $166,000 on a mobile game. It means that you've made it in the world, and you're just flaunting.
That guy just wants to hack and slash and pay to win.
That's an acceptable way.
Used?
No, that's a Black Desert thing. I ran into a guy that said that once.
Yeah, Master X Master is becoming a thing. You can cover that too.
Oh yeah, this game it's closer to release or to some kind of testing phase coming up.
They have an alpha date. Let me give you the video for it first.
It's June
I got
24th.
it. I am on the page, boys. Don't worry.
It is June 24th. Some other sites misconstrued the bold text and put June 21st, but I can assure you it is June 24th.
I like that jab. I mean, do you guys think a game like Master X Master has a chance of competing with like the really, really competitive mobile world of what we have today, with like 2 games dominate, possibly 3 if you count Smite?
No, but I think it can get by.
I think it'll get by too, but here's the thing with Master X Master. It exponentially raises the complexity of MOBAs because you have to learn 2 different characters, but first you have to learn which 2 characters work well together and work with your play style, and then learn both of those characters, know when to switch them, know who they're good against,
and you
know
switch
what your other
too,
players
right?
are using, and then how to counter them.
I don't know. I'm not giving it a chance. I don't think it's gonna find a place.
I like the complexity because at least like a lot of games that came out, whether it was Infinite Crisis, which there's also what was that sci-fi one? It's with the RTS elements, whatever. They really didn't like. They were just bland, and they were kind of just like they took the existing genre. Supernova, yeah. They were very bland. They didn't push the envelope at all. At least you see a game like Master X Master doubling down on like complexity, because it really does seem pretty complex. I haven't played it yet, but conceptually, being able to switch between heroes instantly and with the weapons, with the variety, it seems a lot more complex than your average MOBA. So they might find the audience there.
Okay, time to be racist again. It's developed by Asia. Remember, I don't think the combat will be as fluid as Dota or League. Just based on that. That's my.
For the record, League is owned by the Chinese. It's owned
by
Tencent.
Owned by, not developed by.
For the record, Japanese games are some of the most fluid.
For the record, Japanese don't know how to make PC games. So we're talking about PC games, online multiplayer.
That is a valid point. All right, because Japan is very big on console and mobile right now.
I think it's a whole different ballpark making a game fluid over the internet versus locally, right? Because locally it's doable. It's up to you, but kind of you have to use a lot of tweaks and gimmicks to make it feel fluid online. Even though there's latency issues.
Gaunt's Duel is actually a remarkable example of a very fluid game where 90% of the time the guy would just freeze in the air.
Yeah, exactly. So if you get the netcode wrong, it's not a good example. It goes to crap.
Because that's like peer-to-peer nonsensical netcode. That's why.
Yes, thank you, chat. Final Fantasy 14. Enough said. And Phantasy Star Online 2 also. And over.
2 out of how many online games has Korea made?
Well,
PC?
Do you guys remember playing? What was that mech game we played?
MMO audience.
What was that?
What was that mech game we played? It was like the Japanese, like weird looking one. You could buy that. Omar, you know what I'm talking about. Cosmic League. How janky did that feel?
It was janky.
Yeah.
I don't think that the game was actually janky. I think the combat was awful.
Yeah.
It was just awkward. I didn't understand like when we played how you determined whether or not you could hit somebody. You know what I mean? It just happened.
Cosmic League waifus, though.
That's the only reason to play was for the waifus.
I think.
Why even bother having the robotic characters as a choice?
What was the other one? The one before it.
Cosmic. What was it?
Cosmic Break.
Cosmic Break.
It.
Yes.
I think that one's a lot better. I can't remember though.
What is this random thing you linked me? What are these reviews you linked me?
Okay, because we mentioned Final Fantasy 14. I thought the Steam page was pretty funny. I'm looking at the reviews for Final Fantasy 14 on Steam. The top one is I can't wait till I get Alzheimer's so I can play this for the first time again. And the guy says 3,500 hours played. Ruined my life. It's pretty fun though. But I like the last one. 2,700 hours played, and he says it's okay.
It's okay.
It's alright.
I liked Final Fantasy 14 quite a lot.
The game is doing really well on Steam too, I believe. Let me look at it because I kind of want to try it now too because.
You never played it?
No.
Wow, I'm surprised. It's actually the last MMORPG where I it was like that was my life, was playing Final Fantasy 14. And I really haven't done that often since then. But I had a ton of fun. Got all the way to the end game. Got to turn 5, and great game. Good community too. The only issue with that game was the PS3 players. You had to kick them out of your group because they just weren't as good as the PC players. It was a weird mix. It was like a caste system. You had to keep the console plebs.
Somebody asked, does Final Fantasy 14 have more subs than WoW? No, it definitely does not. 100%.
No way in hell.
Because WoW still makes it to the most highest revenue generating games list, while Final Fantasy 14 is not on the top 10.
That was a good chart. Did we mention it last time with the top 10?
No, we're gonna bring it up now because we discussed last. We were talking about buy to play versus free to play again, a very popular discussion we have, and I know.
We'll leave the buy to play versus free to play out of this discussion. Just bring up the news. Leave the buy to play versus free to play crap out of it.
I gotta rub it in.
Whatever it is, link me the chart, baby.
Okay, Omer.
Link me the chart, baby.
I'm gonna link you the chart.
All I'm gonna say. This is my entire argument. We talked about growth potential. We talked about it. It ends there.
All right. The news is that the 6 out of the top 10 grossing MMOs are free to play. Your champion of free to play here has defended the business model.
Because of growth potential.
Again, if you want to be the top 10 grossing game, you got to be free to play, baby.
All right, let's go. Let's go down the line, boys. Ready? This is defense right here. League of Legends. Boom. Big game. Been around for a while. No dispute. It's got the scale to be free to play.
No dispute.
Number 2, Crossfire. Boom. Chinese. Drop it out of the list. No chance in America. Get out of here. Dungeon Fighter Online. Already shut down by Nexon in America. Came back as some kind of tinky one server service. All right. Boom. Down. Let's get rid of it. Wow. Pay to play. I win. I got you, man.
Just excuse the top 3 that completely, invalidate your point, and stick to the 4th one, which, by the way, the other 3 are like so much bigger.
They're big. Also, I bet League, like half their money comes from like China, right? More probably. I don't know exactly.
Honestly, I think League is very League makes a lot of money in the West as well. So you can't
here's the
underestimate that.
League is only as successful as it is because of its player base. Look at the average spending per player. Okay, it is significantly lower than if 7 million people buy a $60 game on release date and never have to pay for anything.
League makes more money than any console game.
Because of growth, of how many people it has.
Yes.
Because of China. China. Crossfire, China. Dungeon Fighter, China.
Look at World of Tanks. That's actually Eastern Europe.
Okay. World of Tanks is the first game on this list that's actually free to play and doing well in the West, I'd say. Surprisingly, Fantasy Westward Journey. I don't know what that is. Some Chinese nonsense.
I've tried to play that, but you have to register with a Chinese social security number. So I'm just like, no, I'm not.
Oh, you can make it up, and it works. You just put in any random. What is it?
Yeah, but then you steal somebody's identity. It doesn't matter. You don't know whose it is. You just steal somebody's.
Also, Matt, your argument that one guy paying $70 is more than the average revenue that a game like League makes. I mean, obviously, if I sell one game for $30, that's more than average revenue per user than any game on that list, because they're free to play.
But it also has more people that pay more.
But why do you think
the average
it has more
is
people?
low because it has it's free and it has a high number of users.
Yes.
But the
and it makes
people
a lot more
paying
money.
more are paying more because of growth potential. If all you have is the one payment, there's no growth potential. It's just that.
No, they could sell cosmetics too, the same exact way. Overwatch sells cosmetics.
Guys, China. I think you guys are missing the China picture here.
Look at a game like Battleborn. It tried to compete with Dota and League and other MOBAs, and wait a minute, let's slap a $60 price tag on this. Oh wait, what an awful idea. Actually, it was actually a good idea if they go free to play later, but from a monetization point of view, you can't charge money for a MOBA. It's not going to work. When you have the 2 biggest competitors in the world that are free to play.
Well, Overwatch is going to be big.
Yeah.
Pay to play.
I think you guys are looking at the numbers without looking at why the numbers are the way they are.
No, I'm with you on this, Matt. This is the few time we agree, right? Maybe for different reasons, but
the average revenue per League player is about $1.30 per year. Pretty low.
Yeah, because it's mainly the big spenders who make up for it.
Yeah. Because a lot of people don't spend any
That's all
money.
it is.
I've spent very little money on League. I think maybe I spent like $15 altogether ever on League myself, and I got a lot of value out of it. So I got the most value out of that game with dollars spent.
There was actually another chart along with this this article. I think something about the gaming size of the player base in each continent.
Wait, is this an actual chart we have access to? Because I was looking at a lot of charts that looked interesting, and I didn't have access to any of them, and I'm just like, damn you.
I
I
like
don't
how
even
Blade
want
and Soul is
to.
on the list, but it's
I
buy to
don't-
play in Korea.
I don't even want to know how much this fucking costs.
Oh yeah,
The
super data
super
lists are
data.
very expensive. If you want to buy their research, it's like,
2,500.
yeah.
Are you serious?
Yep.
Damn.
Here's a fun fact, guys. As far as pay to play goes, Terra and Blade and Soul are both bigger than Final Fantasy 14.
Yeah.
Yeah, that strikes. I mean, well, they've been out quite a bit longer, no? And they are, that's home turf.
I
And,
guess.
Korea.
I honestly don't think Final Fantasy 14 has much scope for long term outside Japan. I know it was kind of big in the West, but I don't know anyone personally who played it really is still playing or was even playing 6 months out.
I mean, do you know anybody who's still playing Blade and Soul or Terra in the West?
No.
Omer, he started it
I
out.
just
Yeah,
started
I'm
playing.
right here.
Yeah.
I don't think Omer counts.
Wow.
I think we're gonna discount him.
Super Data released a new report actually saying that they expect PC online multiplayer sectors to climb 13% in 2016, and they actually said League of Legends generates today $150 million a month. $150 million a month. That is insane. If you look at that list, how much money that has like WoW made on that list?
Guys,
It's absolutely killing
guys, while Shu's not here and she can't protest, Sunday Funday, do you guys want to revisit WildStar since it came out on Steam?
Yeah, I'm down for that.
I
Sure.
was gonna say Blade and Soul since Omer's already playing it.
I'm always down for. I'm down for either.
All right, well, yeah, between
We'll
those
pick
two.
one of those two.
We'll flip a coin.
Actually, if you look at, we talk about how Matt was saying WildStar is not as bad as people say. It's doing quite well on Steam as well. I mean, I know when Matt wrote the article, it was just came out, so it didn't update the numbers.
Yeah, no,
It's
that was sarcastic because everybody
Yeah,
loves
yeah.
to hate on it.
2,600 people are playing about an hour ago. Peaks at 4,000, 24-hour peak, and that's pretty solid. It's a lot of people.
I think our expectations have been reduced here. I don't think 2,000 is solid. I mean,
No, because here's the
I think
thing. Look at-
2,000 is a solid number for a game that's basically making nothing.
Yeah. Plus, look at the number of people playing. Just to be on the top 50 of Steam, I say is pretty good.
really.
One thing you guys are also overlooking is that WildStar just came out on Steam, and
Yeah, the
I
attrition
imagine
rate is up the ass.
yeah, exactly. The retention rate will not be high. I'm more curious to see what the numbers are 30 days after, rather than making any judgments now.
Retention
I
rate is
will-
always pretty Duke.
I will be shocked if it even breaks. I will be shocked if it's anywhere close to 2,000 after 30 days. It's going to be more like around 1,000, I imagine. So
Okay, I found the chart you were looking for, by the way.
Cool. So, this chart, I like this chart because...
China.
China, exactly. It kind of proves my China.
China.
I mean,
Okay.
look how little both of them make in the U.S. I mean, it's tiny.
Yeah, North America is a very small market for these free-to-play games. There's no doubt.
Yep.
Actually, I remember I quoted the Nexon earnings release. They said like less than like 4% of Nexon's money comes from North America.
I can't believe
So
how much money it's in Europe.
Europe is
North
bigger.
America.
Oh
Yeah.
no, Europe. I think. I don't want to. Don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure that Europe really bought into the whole browser strategy games thing because you've got like InnoGames
Yes.
is huge.
You're right, you're
Enormous. Yeah, you're right. I think actually, I remember we got an advertising request with one of these browser strategy games, and they revealed to us how much money they make per player. So the industry term would be average revenue per paying user, and they said that once a person spends like even $1 on a game like those browser strategy games, the games like F&E, basically Clash of Clans on browser, they end up spending like $80 a month for 6 months. So as soon as they
What?
get you, as soon as you get a nibble, as soon as you get a taste, right? They get you for like $480
Yep.
on average.
Damn.
That's
And
nuts.
obviously some people spend more, but $480 being the average is insane. That's a lot of money. That's why they can afford to advertise everywhere. You see even like Game of War ads everywhere because they can afford to. Because if one guy buys into it, they make $500. That's enough to run an ad for to get so many more people. my mind is blown that people can play those games because I see comments on games like Mobile Strike and Game of War and MMOs.com. People are like, I played for free for like this much time, and some pay to winner came and just stomped me. You know, like what do you do? How do you compete against the pay to winners in those games?
You pay
Yeah, but why even enter that pissing contest
to be the
anymore?
best. Because you want to piss more, longer, and stronger.
More, longer, and stronger. I like it.
That is the name of the game.
You know what I like about
It's
this
game
chart,
theory.
guys? All right, so we have North America, Latin America, 2 continents, Europe, third continent, Asia, 4, and then instead of and for Africa, they just call it rest of the world.
And it includes Australia too, doesn't it?
I don't know. Maybe it lumps it with Asia. I don't know.
It lumps with Antarctica. You know, there's some big spenders on Game of War in Antarctica. All right.
All right,
Yeah,
so
Omer sounds like he'd be bad at League of Angels too. Yeah, I would not open up my credit card, so yes, that would be awful.
okay, so Cinnamon Jim is asking about Gloria Victis thoughts, and I've played a few hours of Gloria Victis, so I'm just gonna throw this out there. I like the premise, and I like the overall, like the basic gameplay, but it needs a lot of work. Like right now, combat's a little janky. Like if you play with a
I
melee
love that
weapon
word.
instead of like a bow or something, you are 9 times out of 10 going to miss the birds when you attack the birds. You're gonna miss them 9 times out of 10. I don't know what happened. You can watch it in the stream. It's in our archive, and it was awful. I don't know what happened. But when you're fighting against actual human AI, it works pretty well. And the PvP, right? It seems like it's going to be really cool because it's like open world faction-based PvP where you take different points and stuff, and you have to hold them. And when you take the points, the NPCs change to your like country's NPCs, and they try to defend it, and they'll keep all the lower level players away. Like we tried to go up against a level 40 NPC, and we got our asses handed to us. But it seems like it'll be pretty cool. It needs a little work, and it's got that stupid thing where NPCs just sit in the middle of the field and wait to die. They don't move or anything until you show up. So that needs work. And
Leads doing well on Steam too. Over 1,000.
yeah. It does have very Mountain Blade-like combat, which impressed me quite a bit. Like the fact that it feels that much like Mountain Blade, and it's in an MMO. I mean,
Good.
but it is a little buggy, and at the very end of the video, right, I had to end the stream because I lagged out, and I would have to quit all the way out of the game to rejoin.
Wow.
Yeah. So the servers need work too, but it's there. It's got potential. It's just it needs a lot of stuff filled in. It needs a little work.
Was it proper to release into early access at this point?
Yeah, I mean it works well enough for early access. It's just like I said, the servers are having issues. You can time out basically, and you'll just sit there stuck in this circle because it'll pull you back to where the server last saw you if you try to go outside of that area, and you'll just sit there forever. I mean, you never recover from most of it.
I know we kind of we're done with E3 for a while, but do you guys remember that game of Kings and Men or whatever it was called?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so my brother showed it to me. He's like, we were so excited, right? And then there was a part in it where it's like large-scale combat with over 200 players, right? And you see like all these people running around. The first thing I thought was, there's no way this is going to happen because the server's just going to crash. Like, I can't believe we're in 2016, and there's still so many games with server issues, whether it's Tree of Savior. I don't know if the technology is there to support kind of like a lot of things with lots of connections going on at once.
The way that I read it for of Kings and Men is it's going to be kind of like PlanetSide, where you have like those instances where the most you can have, right, is like 200 players, and that's
It says over 200 with more than 200, so 201.
okay. Well, I guess they'll have like a cap, like PlanetSide has, and you have the regions, and it's open world, but only so many people can be in that region at one time, and it's instanced out sort of, but you walk through the instances kind of. That's what I got from it. It kind of looks like if you took Clash of Clans and made it kind of like PlanetSide. That's what it reminds me of.
I mean, what excites me about that is the potential 200 versus like the massive battles where players actually controlling like every hero. Like, you play as one guy. That just sounds really cool. Like just a huge, large-scale battle like that. Like ever since I'm watching like Gladiator, that scene at the beginning, like the massive fights, I always wanted to play a game like that. I mean, you had Chivalry, but Chivalry was always like 64 players max. It was never that full epic feel. of like 200 plus players just sieging for a city, and that
Yeah.
sounds awesome on paper. But I got to see it. Got to play it.
I think the theoretical limit, I guess, for number of people in one area is EVE Online, where basically each client is a spreadsheet, right? Because everyone zooms out all the way, so there's no graphics being displayed. And even then, it grinds to a halt, right? Like, the game slows it down on purpose. But I don't know, just something. Even like a spreadsheet can't have more than like 1,000 people accessing it once before it crashes. So whether a game can have 200 plus, I'm very skeptical.
Well, that's the point of spatial OS, right? So there is a company called Improbable, and this is what Chronicles of Illyria and Worlds of Drift are supposed to be using to run their games. And it's, as far as I understand it, and I am not someone who understands these types of things well, as far as I understand, it's basically be like cloud computing, right? You're going to run your one server, one shard on a large network, so you can support all these people and independent objects and different physics at once. And this is supposed
Didn't Eve do that before?
I'm not sure how Eve works. Matt,
It's not. I don't know how this works. It's very vague, right? Because it's their technology and it's new, and they want to keep their secrets to themselves. But the difference is this is designed from the ground up to allow persistence of every single object. It's designed from the ground up to allow physics in a massively multiplayer environment. It's supposed to handle these hard calculations that usually grind servers to a halt. I don't know how it works, but it's a distributed network that is supposed to be able to handle this stuff.
So basically, there are people trying to. I guess this is definitely a known issue.
Yep.
As you were saying, it's surprising where we are in 2016. So hopefully, this works. I mean, I have not had the chance to play Worlds of Drift, and even if I did, it had an NDA, so we couldn't discuss it. But it will be. I would love to play a game where everyone's in one world, and you do see hundreds of people interacting, fighting, and whatnot. I mean, that was the dream as a kid, right? Where it's smooth. Like, I can't believe. I remember as a kid, I used to always think, in the future there won't be bugs. In the future, we'll have massive battlegrounds on a planetary-sized,
seamless
field.
worlds and stuff. But
Seamless worlds, leaving and traveling and exploring the solar system, and we're still. And it feels like now that I'm here, I don't know. It's still the same thing. It's just maybe a little sharper. But
I'm gonna disagree. I think we actually went backwards. And
we went backwards.
Yeah, I mean, Sean, you were there when we played World of Warcraft, 40-man raids. What did they do with the first expansion? They lowered it to 25, right? And what did they do after that? They lowered it to like 15.
But that didn't have to do with when you say that though, it makes it sound like it was a hardware issue. That's a whole different. Decision. That was a whole different.
Well. Whatever it is, their scope of ambition got narrowed. It didn't get wider.
Well, the other thing is, I mean, some people think the 40-man raids are cool, but maybe in practice, like, not a whole lot of people wanted to do a 40-man raid.
I mean, and I do see that. Well, again, that's a case of.
It's a different question.
Yeah, that's a different question too.
But like, it's not really a different question because if nobody wants it, why would they keep making them? You know what I mean?
I mean, remember, don't forget, it became a very successful game with those 40-man raids, and the fact that not everyone could do them, I think, was its own draw. Which the end game was the end game was always there. You didn't complete the game.
That's true. But there was always something else to strive through.
But the thing is, it was popular when it had the 40-man raids, but it became even more popular later. People always seem to forget that it became more popular after Burning Crusade and Wrath of the Lich King.
Yes, but remember that was like the first 2 years, because the first expansion came out in just 2 years. I think that cycle would have happened even without. Like, I don't think that was a driving factor, right? Lowering the raid number.
I think that's hard to say.
I want to say with the 40-man raids, it comes down to like I remember talking about this with Altai earlier. Like in a game where like if I join a game and I find out like after the new expansion comes out that clan or group XY managed to complete all the new content in a span of like 48 hours, world's first, right? It's just demoralizing. I feel like when I play a game, I want there's something in the game that has not been achieved yet. Okay? I want there should be a boss at almost every point for every MMORPG that's never been defeated yet, and always release content. So there's always something that nobody has done yet.
Yeah, it's a psychological thing. Yeah, because if there's a 40-man raid I can't do, and then they lower it to like where I can do it, even if like as soon as I do it, I'll feel like I beat the game. My psychological incentive to invest in the game will just lower so much.
There should always be something harder. Even to the point where they make it absurdly difficult. It doesn't even there should always be something that no one in the game has done, and they slowly get people there. but when they get there, there's always a few more things that no one has ever done.
So that's what
You
I was.
mean the
Just artificial
50 million?
difficulty.
You mean the boss with 50 million health in Final Fantasy 11 that took a guild over 24 hours of cycling on and off, and they still didn't beat it?
See,
That's
good.
hella
That's good.
impressive. I like that.
The
nobody
that's
beat
why I
that
was
yet?
asking Shu and Omar, you too. What is
I
the
think
max
they
party
nerfed
size in
it.
Blade and Soul? You said 4 or 3 or something.
Yeah, like 4.
And that's like even end game like raid.
Yeah.
What a joke.
I'll actually check.
I won't even call that an MMORPG. At that point.
Well, see, that's the thing, right? MMORPG doesn't stand for how many people you play with at
Max
once.
party size is 6.
Okay,
That's
and that's
just how
like the end game stuff.
That's how they're distributed across the world, not how many
Well,
you have
yes,
in a party
technically
with
it's an MMORPG, but my point is, it doesn't. It's not even trying. It's an MMORPG because it was developed at a time when MMORPGs were hot, and it was just trying to be something else, and they just slapped that title to like help it, I guess.
Well, yeah, I think there are like 24-player dungeons and
Oh, there are
So I
dungeons.
can't remember exactly, but I think they're over 10. Or
Yeah,
something.
there are 24-man raids.
All right, that's not that bad.
I'm not sure if it's out yet though. Somebody did mention it.
Someone asked if Blade and Soul is worth starting. Omar likes it, but
I say yeah, give it a try. It's free to
I don't.
play.
I don't like it.
It has a radically different combat system than other MMORPGs. It feels rewarding. That's what I really like about it. I mean, I forgot how nice it felt, even when you're killing when you're grinding your quest. Because let's be real, the entire grinding, the quest hub system. You go to point A to point B, get all the quests, do all the quests, rinse and repeat. It feels rewarding to even kill like 7 bandits because, okay, I gotta block him. As soon as a block lands, I gotta do this. It keeps you on your toes because if you
That seems
don't pay
tedious.
attention, no, it's not though.
Look, listen.
How is it less? How is
Okay,
it more tedious? Than
I want to
just-
feel
Okay,
rewarded.
It's like you play Skyrim, right? And you're sitting there and you dance around the enemies, waiting for them to hit you so that you can counter and then strike back. It's kind of like that.
No,
Okay.
I would say it's faster paced.
I want to feel rewarded.
Yeah, but I'm trying to
Yeah.
lay it out for Erhan.
Okay, I want to.
I don't think I just played Skyrim.
In an MMORPG, I have played. In an RPG, I want to feel rewarded from investing in the world, not combat, in and of itself.
Okay, that's a different argument, but I think the combat. A lot of
So,
people
so
enjoy
just
the
play
combat.
Skyrim then. If you just want to kill things, you want to kill orcs and feel rewarded.
Combat in Skyrim was not fun. What are you
Whatever.
talking about?
If you just want
Not
to
even
play a game
comparable.
and feel rewarded for combat, go play a million games. You know, like I don't want to play MMORPG for that.
Well, that's one element of the MMORPG, one aspect of the game, and I think a lot of people enjoy the combat in Blade and Soul, and that's what really helps it stand apart.
No,
In a
again, I'm
world
not
where we
saying
have
the
so
combat's
many-
bad. It could be fun. It could be good, but it doesn't feel like an MMORPG.
Okay, that's an entirely different complaint. Fine,
Yes.
all right. But the combat is fun,
All right,
which is
that's
something
fine.
that
That's
I don't
fine.
say
That's
a lot
fine
about
with me.
MMORPGs.
I mean, I don't think that you should have to be rewarded for combat, but I think allowing people like designs where there is combat that is rewarding is a good thing.
Actually, there's actually a pretty interesting thread came out recently about Age of Conan. I know it's not exactly Blade and Soul related, but I think we should cover it because it talks about pay to win, and that's always a pretty rough discussion. And apparently, they introduced. I mean, it seems ridiculous that they would actually do this, but people are saying they've done it. They've introduced. There's 6 tiers of raid content apparently of gear, and you can buy all up to tier 5 in the cash shop. Just straight up gear. You can instant max level 80, get every mount in the game, and pretty much everything in the game, but the tier 6 content, just from opening up the wallet. How do you guys feel about that?
It sounds to me like the cry of a dying animal.
That's what I was
okay.
gonna say. It sounds like a desperate attempt to get casuals to buy their way into it so that they can play the end game and see that it's like halfway decent or something and stick around, or they just get the money if they don't stick around. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
I mean, Funcom really should be focusing all their efforts on the secret world because they're certainly not going to get a whole lot out of Age of Conan at this point.
This I think the second comment on this Reddit post sums up a lot of people's opinion. I honestly wasn't aware this game still existed. And you know, we've chronicled Funcom's financial issues over the past year, and so this is just an obvious cash grab on a dead horse. So there you
Dying.
are.
It's not
But you
dead
don't
yet.
expect this behavior from like Western publishers and developers. It's almost like this is like, oh, yeah, if a Chinese company did it, we'd all understand, you know?
Desperation.
Well, Tryon did it too.
Yeah, but did
Let's
he do it
keep
first
Except,
level?
except it wasn't the best stuff in Rift,
Yeah.
right? It was the second. It was the bare minimum viable, so that if you didn't have
Yeah.
time to like get your gear ready, you could buy the minimum viable and get into raids. That's the way it works.
Yeah. Here they just sell really strong gear, but again, it costs over $1,000 to get the tier 5.
But guys, we have a new Conan game coming. All right, guys. Exiles.
I'm actually really
Conan
hype about this. I am hype about this.
This is all right. This got a lot of dislikes actually, and the reason why is because it's basically just Rust or Ark. combined.
Okay,
I got Rust vibe from it and Ark, but still.
You remember how I said I really like the small details, right? When you see at the beginning of this trailer the guy walking through the sand, and you see the sand drift out of the like little divots that they've left by their feet, love that shit.
And they're
Really?
actually
Would
they're
do
actually
that.
deep into the sand, like ankle deep. You know, it's not just
And
you just
then-
walk on top of it.
And then the wind just blows some sand out of it, and it's like it's so nice. Like, why don't more people do this?
Because it's a trailer.
Honestly, to me, it didn't look fluid. It just kind of like felt like the sand was disappearing behind its foot.
No, but at least it looked okay.
No,
Alright.
it's wind pulling it out. Of course, it's gonna look like it disappeared.
Yeah.
All right, well, I guess I don't know. That didn't really pique my interest as.
Yeah, he shot a bunch of vases that had
Explosives
Oil
in
in
there or
them.
something. Oil doesn't explode though. Oil would just light on fire. The gas in it would combust. The vapor would combust. I don't know if it make that big of an explosion though. I have no idea.
I think they're just jumping on this bandwagon. How many abandonware early access survival games are there at this point?
A lot probably.
Yeah.
A
so
lot. I know
this
Gummy
is
did
this
a
is
video
just
for
jumping
Cooking
on the.
Okay, so
bandwagon
here's a
here.
good question though: are they abandonware, or is it just that the survival genre never had anything to it to begin with?
No, Rust is still
What?
huge. Ark is huge. It's a big genre.
I never said that people weren't playing it. I said did they never have any depth? Is it
The
abandonware, or
the
was-
games themselves didn't have depth. Other games.
I was never a
like,
fan of the survival genre. I think it was overhyped and it's overdone.
I just don't think it's abandoned. I think
Rust is
there was
one of the
just
greatest
nothing
games.
for them to add.
I mean, in this game, it looks like with Conan Exiles, what got me a little hype about it is you got that. It looks like Rust, right? Which is I like Rust, but they have bigger cities. It seems like Rust with more building. And I think when Rust adds like a ton more building stuff, it'll obviously be a great game, an even better game. But this seems to be like you can build your own towns and stuff, which seems really cool.
I mean, keep in mind, normally when that stuff is shown off, it's a late game collective effort, and that kind of stuff is not accessible to the casual player. So I think they show that off, and that's not something that everyone's going to experience when they play. Kind of like Tree of Life had that, where if you really wanted to build a town, a village, you had to band together with other players. The thing is, Conan Exiles really is going to have to do something really special to stand out. I mean, it seems like this. Someone must have impressed an investor with Exiles for Funcom to still be alive, unless they have some other secret project they haven't revealed yet. I can't imagine they can do anything to really innovate the genre, especially when you already have solid titles like Ark and Rust. It just seems late. They're late to the game, you know? I imagine there was a board meeting, and they're like, how can we save our company? What do we do? Let's do that survival thing. Everyone seems to like that. Especially since we've seen a few other games come out recently. I mean, the Black Death, not like there was a ton of hype behind it, but it's kind of like fallen to the wayside. There's really no one playing. Lifeless, I believe, is about to release another zombie survival game. It just, everyone's putting their foot in the water. They're all dipping their toes, but no one wants to dive in. No one can dive in. Pool's closed. So,
Pool's closed.
pool's closed.
I think Black Death had the potential to be like Gloria Victis Light with like
Yeah,
the
maybe
plague
if-
and everything.
Maybe if it
But-
worked.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I hear it doesn't work very well. At
Look,
all.
every game has the potential to be amazing. The thing is actually doing something. League of Angels 2 could have been the next World of Warcraft, but that shit didn't pan out. I mean,
And then Lifeless has actually been in development for like 5 years.
that doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
It just means that they picked up on it like when it was still a fad, right? And they're just
Maybe they should have worked a little faster.
Man,
Maybe they should have.
I've been working on my own MMO since since the day I was born. All right, it's 26 years in development right now. When it comes out, it'll be amazing. All right, just because I say I've been working on it for 20 years doesn't mean
I'm not
you're
saying that. I'm
actively
just saying it's a
working on it.
side effect of slow
Yeah.
development. You know, it's not really just that they're trying to cash in. They're just a side effect of slow development.
What I see is the survival genre as a genre is kind of like the MOBA genre. You have a couple of titans. Everybody
Rust and
else
Ark.
is kind of fighting for the scraps.
Yeah,
and
that's
no one
well
else
put.
is going to be able to eat enough to fill their bellies. I don't know what you do to innovate it more than it is. Maybe you release a complete game since none of them seem to be complete yet. I'm
You need
not
a lot
sure.
of content.
You need a lot of content, and you have to you have to. There's a lot of little barriers and constrictions you have to put in that so that new players don't get scared off. Like if you play Rust and it's a server that's been around for a while, I think Rust does it right with the server browser.
Yes,
so does
they
Arc.
wipe too. They wipe them too, which is nice.
You have to wipe them. If you don't have a strong community in place, then the people who have been playing longer are just going to scare away anyone who starts because these games.
But they wipe, so it's okay.
No, I understand that,
Yeah.
but they're able. You got to keep in mind, Rust and Arc have a solid server list. They're these huge games, and they have a strong community that wants to. Like I ran a Rust server for a long time, and I need an active community to be successful. If Conan Exiles doesn't take off right away, and you have a community with like 20 players, I mean, once you hit a certain mark, your game is done.
Yeah.
Like Fragmenting's never going to take off now because it just doesn't have a big enough community to support that structure.
I want to say with Rust, my experience with Rust, I think I have over at least over 30 hours on it, probably more. But it's what I was saying earlier with WoW and other games. There always has to be something you haven't done yet, which keeps you invested in a game. So when you first play Rust, you jump into the world, right? And you look around, you see all these huge buildings, like wow, I want to have that building. I want to have that awesome full metal, structure. I want the rocket launchers. I want to be able to leave my house on AK and go hunting. You want to be able to get all the stuff you don't have, and that keeps you playing. So I kept playing. I played, right? And then I started playing with my other friend Chicken. We played for like 3 wipes together, and then we got so good, right, to the point where within 5 hours of the server wipe, 6 hours of the server wipe, we had the building, we had the gear, and after the first or second day, we all had rocket launchers. We had so many rockets. We're just shooting rockets at the nearby neighbors, inefficiently, just blowing them up to give them a big FU. We went raiding with AKs. Once you get to that point where you have everything, you want to stop playing. Yep. That's why a game like Rust, they need to keep adding bigger and greater things, like maybe vehicles eventually. And there always has to be something you don't have to keep you invested. Because until I had everything, I played a lot. I played like at least 5-hour sittings. It was great. I had a ton of fun. I just wish they had to keep adding more content.
But they are. I mean, one of the better early access.
They've been good with it.
I think Rust went sideways when they added guns and rocket launchers. If you keep it medieval, you can kind of keep it going longer, I think. And I don't like the idea of wipes on a weekly basis or whatever. It just kind of makes it.
It works. It prevents people from being too strong. I mean, ideally, if the game is so developed, so much content that there's always stuff to work towards without wiping, it'd be great. But I don't think we're there yet.
I actually gotta disagree. I don't think it's possible with the way the games are structured, unless you made it so that noobs, like people who just started playing the game, are able to, maybe they have immunity or something, which is kind of, I don't even like that notion. People who are veterans, there's always going to be dicks. We were the dicks for a long time there, and they're just going to kill the new players.
But
it's
what about
really
this?
hard to get established.
If you have a town, right, it needs a constant supply of wood, water, food, right? The new players could be recruited. You give them protection, citizenship, or whatever, in exchange for their labor until they can accumulate.
Sure, yeah, that is.
But when you have the auto well extractors or whatever, like you have in Rust, like the miners, excavators, where there's no maintenance, food is a non-issue. That kind of stuff, and there's rocket launchers, so you can just blow anything up if you want. You see, it kind of there's no need for other people besides your 3 guys. With 3 guys, you can do whatever you want.
But there's still a sense of community.
I think you guys are missing another key point that is a problem with the survival genre at large. The world has no depth. It is literally there to provide you with the resources you need to make things, and nothing else.
What do you think Earth is here for?
Yeah, Earth. Where's the depth in Earth?
I'm just saying, no matter how far you go, there's nothing to find.
Yeah. And there's no culture. You say the community is important,
People are the culture.
But it's bullshit, though. You only talk to people in your group.
I build my 4. There's an angry Chinese neighbor over there. There's the angry Russian over there. There's the nice guys in the southwest corner. And there's an immediate community in these games when you play them, and it does feel involved.
It doesn't feel involved. You don't talk to anyone. You just kill them. You only talk to people in your group.
No, you talk to them when you kill them.
But you don't interact. You don't cooperate. All you do is
you cooperate.
You work with your buddies to kill everyone else.
No, but
I mean, you're basically pointing to human nature in an environment where you respawn. That's exactly what people would fucking do. Maybe if we weren't humans, we would work together. But the whole point of these games, what makes them fun, is that there's no rules and you can just kill each other. I mean, if you want to force cooperation, it's a different game.
I'm not forcing cooperation.
I didn't say anything about forcing cooperation.
No, you're forcing.
There's nothing there.
Exactly. If you take away technology, and so it's a medieval world where you need farmers, you need the resource gatherers.
Black Death. It's the Black Death. You were basically describing the Black Death.
Altai says there was no communication with people that are outside the group. I remember when he played Rust, he found some 14-year-old kid I partied up with Altai basically, and they like gathered resources together. He gave an AK-47, and Altai didn't kill them. Altai was he was a nice guy, right? And he was huddled up in his house. They were getting raided by 3 guys, and I kept looking at Aaron like, Aaron, just kill him. It'll be funny, you got a gun, just shoot him. It'd be awesome,
Okay. So nice. You actually brought up my main complaint with that genre, right? This guy who had everything, right? The guns, whatever, the full equipment.
He did everything.
He was so desperate for interaction that I was a naked guy with nothing. He was so desperate for some cooperative gameplay that he walked up to me, gave me everything he wanted, everything he had, right? Equal gear.
You should have killed him.
And then the first thing my brother tells me is, you should kill him. See, that's how little incentive / mechanics there are for cooperation with strangers in Rust. Where this guy is so desperate for someone who has no value to him.
Stop using the word desperate.
Yeah.
Why?
You meet the one nice person in the game and you call him desperate.
He is. He was desperate
Most people just shoot you on sight, by the way. He was nice enough to help you out.
Well, exactly. And what'd you tell me to do? Shoot him as soon as he gave me a gun.
Yeah. What you should have done, taken all his shit.
Then what? It's a hamster wheel that goes nowhere. That's what Rust is.
No, it's awesome, and I love it. And I think a lot of people that play Rust.
I played Rust for 2 hours. I got everything from it. And all my brother did is repeat that 100 times.
No.
Yeah.
It's great.
The world's dead, like Matt said. There's no context.
I don't know what that means.
That makes no sense.
There's no context.
It's nonsensical.
It's not nonsensical.
There's nothing to find. There's no reason to adventure unless you need
there's no context.
resources.
If you know what that means, then I guess, if you don't really know, all right, in World of Warcraft, the first time you went to Stormwind, the music plays. You see the NPCs, the guards holding their swords. In EverQuest, you enter, a new place.
You're comparing apples and oranges.
There's no context.
It's the people are the context. I told you. Every time you play Rust,
just enter an AOL chat room. Enter an AOL chat room and start saying, "Hey, fags, what's up?" All right. If you want context and rivalry, which is people,
that doesn't make sense.
It does.
Because you interact with them if the guy
by
pisses
what?
You off, you can work night and day to destroy his life in the game, and you make enemies, you make friends.
No, he dies. He starts over. No. For us, it's like a cruel joke of what human life could be if there was no culture, no context, no purpose. It's literally it's basically purgatory, okay? Without the fun.
Guys,
I don't see why you have a desperate need for rules to confine how you see yourself in the world. What's beautiful
role-play
about
servers, PvE servers, do whatever you want.
What's great about these games is that it's like Worm Online too. There are no rules, and you create your own. You have to be creative enough if you want the context to insert yourself into it. Basically, it sounds to me what you don't like is the fact that if you want narrative, you have to role play your way into it. I mean, to me,
but see, the difference is Worm Online has secrets. It has dragons. It has crap you can find. If you leave your home and go somewhere else, you can find something other than just a person.
There's helicopters. There's helicopters in Rust.
All you guys are saying is that you like secrets. You like an incentive to adventure and explore, right? But then that's not these games. What makes them great is that's not there.
Okay,
right?
Someone mentioned that that's what people want, and if that's what you want, that's fine, obviously. And then, but you compare it to EVE Online, which is a mistake. EVE Online has context. Not you, but someone mentioned EVE Online. EVE Online is the exact same way. It's a sandbox where you can kill people, right? But EVE had context. I felt like, the Omar are like this, the Minmatar were slaves. I mean, most people might not care
about that.
I cared about that. It gave me context. They do, and each of the factions had different designs for their ships. It did matter.
They're meaningless details.
No, without those details, EVE would not be what it is.
I want to just point out for the record that it seems that 18,512 people don't need context to play a game because that's how many people are playing Rust right now. And I mean, I get it. That's why you don't like it. That's fine if you guys don't like it. But I don't think it doesn't seem to be a detriment to the genre since at least 2 games are thriving.
As I gotta take the other side for a second because I do want to agree. Matt and Altai are correct. Because if you look at a game like Ark, I think Ark would have a little more the world is a little more there's more survival elements because the dinosaurs are there, and it is more popular than Rust.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Well.
Yeah.
But
all right, I want to switch gears because I missed this a month ago, right? But Oranges and Mallory, they posted an update, and I just want to tell you guys this quote, okay? Here are some facts. We did not run out of money. We just never had any.
I like that. We didn't run out of money. We just didn't have any. awesome.
I died laughing at that. Right? It was so funny.
Right. Well, just as they ran out of money, which they never had, we have run out of time. So
Ooh.
with that deep statement, we'll have to leave for this week. It's been fun, and it's good to have the team together. Even though she was only here for the first half, hopefully she'll be back full time soon.
She'll be gone on Sunday for about a week, so we're gonna lose her again for the podcast. But after that, she'll be back for
All
good.
right, then we'll have the whole team together. Okay, well, it's been fun. We'll see you guys on Thursday, right? For Throwback Thursday.
We'll
a
be
new
streaming,
segment here at MMOs.com where we play the opposite of MMOs, single-player SNES games. But we will be playing 5 of us or 6 of us at a time on the same stream, and then you guys can watch us and see who wins first. Our first game will be Mega Man X2. So look forward to that. Peace, guys.
It's Altai's birthday, so happy birthday, Aaron.
Happy birthday, Erhan.
Thank you. All right, overtime time. If you're watching on YouTube, check us out live next week so you can watch overtime. Take care.
See ya.
There you guys.